If there's anybody around you that you don't know, could you take a minute to just greet them, someone around you? Because we come in here because we want to love each other, right? Welcome you online. It's taking every man. He's made you turn to myself. Welcome to A Course in Miracles, y'all. Welcome, Kate. Welcome, Jerry, online. Love is who I am. Don't freak out, they're just being friendly. And we're not that far apart. Tell you what, the same heart. We've been together from the start. They're right there. Tell me, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it. Know that we are one. Yeah, we are one. Feels good to be with my mighty companions. We are one. Welcome to A Course in Miracles. You don't have to believe the ideas, accept the ideas, welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas are going to be hard to believe, and some of the ideas are going to be hard to believe. Some of the ideas are going to be quite startling. I'm warning you, some of the ideas are going to be quite startling. I don't need any more judges. I judge myself enough, so you're not asked to come here and judge me or judge the material. If you use it, you'll see that it's true, because you and me were not that far apart. We're not. We beat in the same heart. Yeah, we've been together from the start. Can you hear it? Can you hear it, sunshine? Can you hear it? Can you hear it, darling? Anybody? Yeah. Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it. Know that we are one. And juicy and luscious and cute. We are one. And juicy and luscious and cute. We are one. And juicy and luscious and cute and powerful and free and loved. And guess what? You are me. Welcome, Lee, Jeannie, Roxanne. Yeah, can we acknowledge ourselves for showing up? Wow. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Are you a victim?
No.
It's John Christmas. I have to have a little music to get me in the mood. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of what? Of the world I see. I know it looks like it feels like it sometimes. I'm not a victim of my mom, not a victim of my Paul, not a victim of events and circumstance and all. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening anywhere in my life, what I've done to me. That's the part I don't like here. That's all right. I'm not a victim of the future, not a victim of the past, not a victim of anything that really doesn't last. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. And I've done some good stuff to me. Hope I don't go blind. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Oh yeah, Want to say hi to Nana, Andrea, Keitha, Yvette, and Brother Diamond. You're not a victim of the relationship you see. Cause what's happening you on your job is what you've done to you. And I got some good stuff. I got the good stuff now. I'm not a victim of the North. I'm not a victim of the South. Not a victim of anything that comes out my mouth. I'm not a victim. Yeah, of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. You done love, you done cool people in the room. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm not a victim of the world I see. Do you know that you are so powerful that even if you don't think you're innocent and beautiful and one and luscious, it's still true? Yeah. Even if you put yourself down and you think you're not enough, that's a lie. You are more than enough. For some people, you get downright too much. That's what I heard. Yeah, I'm a victim of the world I see. Say what? I'm not a victim of the world I see. Cause what's happening now is what I've done to me. Yes. Wow. Working on that, yeah.
Yeah, I was working on mine too.
What, your live gig?
Yeah.
On Facebook?
I want to welcome everybody that's watching the Course in Miracles on Facebook Live.
Woo!
Appreciate that. We got people all around the world that's watching them some Earl. That's right, earldom. I got to give out some earldom that I learned through the dumb Earl. Just in person. Hello, James. Hello, Chris. I see Chris's hand up from way across the house. Nana, Marion, Pamela. Now, we're going to do a section called Is Healing Certain? In the Manual for Teachers, Section 6 is called Is Healing Certain? In the Foundation for Inner Peace version of the course is on page 20. And I'm going to go through the paragraph and then we're going to see, we're going to look at it like some fruit. We're going to see if we can get the juice out of it. What is the message for us today? So I like to go through it first. And this is what I'd like to share with you. Healing is always certain. It's impossible to let illusions be brought to the truth and keep the illusions. Truth demonstrates that illusion has no value. Say what? Truth demonstrates that illusions have no value. False ideas have no value. Now, a teacher of love, a teacher of God is in the correction of their own errors in the mind of the other person, recognizing it for what it is. What does that mean? Having accepted atonement for myself, having accepted the truth for myself, I'm also going to accept the truth for you, the patient. We're going to recognize the truth for what it is. Yet, what if a person uses sickness and unhappiness as a way of life? What if a person believes that healing and happiness is the way to death? When a person believes that being happy is going to kill them. When you think healing is going to not accomplish what you want, the Course says a sudden healing might precipitate intense depression and a sense of loss so deep that the patient might even try to destroy himself. Having nothing to live for, the person may ask for death. So if your healing would depress you to the point that you want to die, then your healing must wait for your protection. Now, okay. It's impossible that you let your false ideas about things go and keep the false ideas. So the ones that you really have achieved the realization that you are love and only love is real and the truth is true, then you're not going to be thinking that you're a victim. You're no longer going to be blaming others. You're no longer going to be making yourself feel guilty. And you're no longer going to keep judging yourself and putting yourself down. So there's no such thing as I accepted the truth that I'm valuable, I'm loving, I am loved, and I am lovable, and at the same time still telling myself I'm not enough, things don't go right for me, I'm a victim of everything. Because when you really learn the truth, it says that demonstrates that your false ideas, which are your illusions, have no value. So you have to see the correction of your errors in the other person's mind, which I think is interesting, which is recognizing it for what it is. What does that mean? Whenever you're reading the Course and you go, okay, I just heard that, it sounds like English, but I don't know what the hell he just got through saying. When that happens, then you just keep reading. Do not study the Course in Miracles and analyze every sentence that you read and then tell yourself you're not going to go to the next sentence until you understand what you just read. The Course in Miracles is aware that you may not understand what it's saying when it says it one way, so it says it in many different ways, so that maybe one of the ways will reach you and you can use it. So it's a trick when if you're sincere about studying the Course. I say it again. It's a trick if you think you have to understand every sentence as soon as you see it and say, I'm going to stick with this paragraph until I understand it. Keep on reading. It goes something like this. Healing is always certain. What does that mean? Well, it's impossible to let your illusions be brought to the truth and keep the illusions. But what does that mean? Well, the truth is going to demonstrate to you that your illusions have no value. How is that? Well, you're going to see the correction of your errors in the mind of the other person. That just means you're going to recognize the other person's mind for what it is. So when I recognize you for what you are, an unlimited child of God that's creating your reality through your own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs, then that's reinforcing that that's also true about my mind. All right, so what does that mean? Well, that means having accepted the atonement, which is the truth for myself, then I've also accepted it for you. If I believe I'm not a victim of the world I see, then I believe you're not the victim of the world you see. If I believe I'm entitled to miracles, then I believe you're entitled to miracles. If I believe God loves me, then I believe God loves you. So every time I accept the truth for me, I accept it for you, and I don't even get you involved so I can accept it faster. Yes. Because I really don't want to hear your point of view. I can be straight up with you. You know what I'm saying? I really don't want to hear your point of view. You know, because I want to accept that you're innocent. I want to accept that you deserve love. I don't want to hear all the stuff you're telling yourself that's different from that. I want to believe I'm not a victim, that I'm responsible for what I see, that I'm more than a body, that I'm an unlimited spirit. So if I accept that for me, I accept that for you. So I don't see you as a victim if I don't see me as a victim. I don't have to tell you that, but I'm not going to see you the way you see yourself. So I never side with you when you say anything negative about yourself. I allow you to say it because it is good to say it, to get it out, to feel it, to recognize it, to allow it so you can let it go. But I'm not buying it. Okay, I'm not joining with you in the idea. First of all, I know that if a person believes that their happiness comes from something outside of themselves, that they don't really know where their happiness is located in the first place. And so what I usually hear people telling me all the time is what thing outside themselves they need to get or that needs to change in order for them to be happy. And I know none of them will. So I don't even go on that journey like I used to with myself. Because I've had the fortune or misfortune to have practically every fantasy and desire that I've seriously wanted manifest for me and wasn't satisfied. And I watched it with everybody else I know. You tell me what you want. I got to get a car. I got to have a new job. I got to whatever. And then I see you 6 months later and you complain about the job and you complain about the relationship and you want something else. So I don't even buy into that anymore the way that I used to. So if you're a person still waiting for the person, the thing, the situation, the circumstance that's going to happen out there that's going to make you happy, you'll never really be happy. But once you realize that your happiness is not something you put into you, you are love, you are happiness, then you will learn how to be happy wherever you are with whoever you're with and whatever situation you're in. So then I would be happy in my home, I would be happy in my relationship, I would be happy in every situation. So that's not saying you wouldn't be able to enjoy the world. It's a guarantee you would be able to enjoy the world because your happiness has nothing to do with the world. So it's not saying you couldn't be in a relationship and be real happy. You just wouldn't be so unaware that you think that person is sourcing your happiness. Because if you think that person is sourcing your happiness, you're going to become a jealous maniac. And then you're going to be trying to hang on to that person for their life because that's where your happiness is located. So thankfully, when you are serious, sincere truth student, then in your higher self, the Holy Spirit takes you seriously about what you say you're doing. Even if you want to get into something that's not right or good for you, it won't work out and it won't happen.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so little has happened to me over the last few months. Nothing I wanted was for my own best interest. I'm shooting it down. I'm doing good right now. You want that? No, it didn't happen. You didn't really want that. That's the way it works. If you're afraid of what you want, which most people are, that's why they don't have it. Then if you're afraid of it, you have to ask for it, but you have to seek it where it's not located in order to not get that thing which would scare you anyway. So if I want to say I want a relationship and I'm afraid of relationships, then I've got to make sure I choose someone that's not going to enter a relationship with me because then I'd have to deal with my fear of relationships.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay, you got it, right. That's the way it works. So whatever it is I don't care what it is, money, job, career, I don't care what it is you're saying you want it that hasn't shown up, stop saying you really want it. Say, I'm afraid of it and I want another way to look at it and I'd like to have that fear removed. I'd like to have the condition that's causing my fear be removed. There's some condition that's causing my fear, and that condition, I'll save you some time, is your sense of separation from God. It's your sense of separation from love. It's your sense of separation from self, your real self. That's if you knew you were connected to your unlimited self that was capable of any and everything and loved you completely, what could you possibly be afraid of and what could possibly be lacking? Nothing. So stop saying you're being deprived of anything by anybody but yourself. Everybody's acting out your wishes. Everybody's, even if it looks like they're mistreating you at some unconscious level, they're acting out your wishes. So the only way to stop it is stop attributing it to something outside of you. Now, you may be so caught up in it that you might need to temporarily separate yourself from it in order to heal and get a new perception of it. But don't ever say you have nothing to do with what's happening to you. So, I love it. Now, this next part of this paragraph is really deep. It says, and I'm just going to do it in plain language. What if a person uses sickness, which of course says sickness is some form of fear or lack of awareness of your innocence, and that produces the physical situation. What if a person uses sickness, I call it unhappiness, as a way of life, believing that happiness or healing is the way to death? When this is so, in other words, what about that person that's always unhappy all the time about one thing or another all the time?
I was with her this weekend.
Yeah, right. You were with somebody like that? Yeah. When you around, are you familiar with that game? Okay. Have you ever been that way yourself? Just find yourself being unhappy about one thing, then another thing, then another thing, then another thing?
Yeah.
Well, the Course in Miracles says, if that's the case, if you were to have a sudden healing, it would make you intensely depressed. That if you did receive the happiness and the healing that you were looking for when you're used to seeing life as a challenge and a problem, and you know your way around your misery because you've been using it for years, then, if you're used to not trusting and how to deal with people you can't trust, if you've gotten used to not always having what you want and feeling good about your experience, then if everything started to go your way, it would be so opposite to the way you set up reality that there's a part of you that's used to being miserable that would actually get depressed or afraid. And I've had that happen, where things started to really go what I perceived as the way I wanted it to go. And after a certain length of time, it was okay when it did it for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a week. But when it got up to months of pretty much peace, I was a nervous wreck. Because I was wondering when the shoe was going to fall. I was wondering when is the horrible thing that's going to happen because things are being going great. So sometimes if you're used to using unhappiness and sickness as a way of life, when you have a sudden healing, it might precipitate intense depression, which is what? I'm going to lose. Somehow or another I'm going to lose this. That's why he said it's a sense of loss. All of a sudden, am I going to lose this? Am I going to lose this joy? Am I going to lose this person? Am I going to lose this happiness? He says, and the person can get so depressed at becoming afraid that they may lose, that they might even try to destroy themselves. I've seen people act the most crazy when they get what they want than when they don't have it. I've seen people act more frightened when they're around loving people than when they're not. Like some people will walk in, for instance, in the class, and they'll see people dancing with each other like sunshine was at the very beginning, and they get uncomfortable. Okay, now I'm saying I'm here because I want to experience joy, see people expressing themselves with joy, because I want to be around loving people. Then I see somebody acting that way, I'm going, what's wrong with her? It's a cult. I know this is a cult, especially if she twerks. Right. We missed that something. Okay. This is a twerk cult, And you better come in here and everybody's booty shaking. Oh, Lord, have mercy. This must be where God's located. Okay, now, don't lose your sense of humor because you're on the path to God. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, having nothing to live for because the person lived to fix their problems, fix themselves, overcome obstacles. Then they may ask to die. What's the point? Everything is going great. What's the point? I'm used to struggle. I'm used to having to handle stuff. And so when you are afraid of happiness, healing waits for your protection. So what you really want waits until you can receive it without attacking yourself for receiving it. So whatever it is that you think you want that hasn't happened is waiting for you to be able to handle it. And coming to things like this and doing your wisdom texts and studying and going to classes and workshops, what those things are doing is they're actually increasing your capacity to receive. Because people think they're more ready to receive than they are. I really want a lot of friends, and then 4 or 5 people walk up to you after class and say, let's go out to lunch and scare you to death. You'd be thinking of all the reasons what they want. What's that about? What's this for? You know, what they're trying to get, especially if it's a dude. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, the stuff that you've been saying you want, the reason why it's not there, and what you want is peace. And the reason why I don't have the peace is because I associate peace with death. Because that's what they said when people die. Rest in peace. So that means I think life is conflict and death is peace. Because that's what we think. I got this one issue after another issue after another issue after another issue that I'm dealing with, these conflicts, these fears. So I look at life as conflict, and I think I'll have peace after I die.
Yeah.
That's why we say rest in peace. So that's that first paragraph. Any questions or any comments about that paragraph and what was said in it? Lillian, Latasha, good to have you online. If there are any questions, they're going to be online as well as in the room. Or just aha, or something you recognize when I talked.
Would you just repeat what you said? I didn't catch it.
Okay.
When you are afraid of happiness, healing waits on...
Healing waits for your own protection. It waits for your own protection because you couldn't handle it. You're not ready for it. You would get depressed. And that's how for people to believe that they would do that. But I see it all the time. I see people ask for stuff, and then when they get it, they're still unhappy. Why? Because unhappiness has become a habit. Actually, unhappiness is a form of punishment. So if I believe I'm guilty or if I believe I'm unworthy or I haven't healed within yet, then I believe punishing myself is somehow correcting the situation. But if I'm happy and receiving love, that's not punishment. So therefore, I'm not getting the punishment that I need to be okay again. Because I grew up in a culture where punishment is seen as correction.
Right.
We believe you do something wrong, you get punished. That's what we believe in a separated, fearful-minded culture. So what happens is we take this upon ourselves, according to the course, and then we punish ourselves to mitigate the punishment of God.
Right.
If I beat my butt enough, maybe God won't. Because then I got some control over it. I don't know what God might do if God wants to punish me, but if I can do it, then I'm pretty much in control of the punishment that I give myself. And so being miserable all the time is a form of punishment. So if I get happiness and love before I think I deserve it, it will precipitate me into panic because a part of me doesn't believe I deserve what's coming my way.
So then a powerful and productive prayer is, I am afraid of this, recognizing that I'm afraid of this if I haven't received it in my life. And then I want another way to look at this.
That's right.
And then please help me remove this fear.
Yeah, I remove the conditions that I'm creating the fear. Because I'm the one that's generating my fear. So I want the condition corrected that I'm using to generate my fear. You see what I'm saying? I like to use the analogy of I'm hiking, a bear shows up, you remove the bear, I'll let go of my fear. You remove the condition that I'm using to create my fear, and I'll let my fear go. And then the Course in Miracles says that condition is really separation from God. It's my separation from Source, if you got a hard time with the term God. That's the only problem all of us have. So I would like to invite you to save yourself years and years and years of effort, because in the end, that's the conclusion you're going to come to. Your happiness comes from inside of you. It's not going to come from anybody, anything else. And if you're connected to God, everything's going to be all right. And you are connected to God. You just have lost awareness of it. Because you can't see now. So I'm saving you some time. It's just like you want to save time, and you come to watch a movie, and I tell you how it ends from the very beginning, so you can just leave because you know how it's going to turn out now and save you some time. Now you can keep thinking it's going to be another person, another situation, another circumstance. You can think you can project and still think it's because of the way you were raised and you got dropped on your head when you was a baby, and that's why you've never been able to have a relationship. You can keep telling yourself all that stuff, but if you do your spiritual work You're going to come to the conclusion that none of that has anything to do with the way you're feeling right now. That the way that you're feeling right now is being caused by what you are telling yourself right now. What you're feeling right now is coming from what you are telling yourself right now. It's not coming from the situation. It's coming from you telling yourself something that's making you feel bad. But it's you doing it. That voice in your mind is generated by you. It doesn't exist on its own separate from you. I tell Earl to tell Earl he's stupid. And then the voice tells me I'm stupid and I get depressed. But I was the one that told me to tell myself I was stupid. So if I wanted to get rid of the depression, I'd have to stop telling myself I'm stupid and that I can't have what I want, which is what all depression comes from, believing that you want something that you're being denied. Yeah. Now that's what an aware being starts to realize. An unaware being is saying, if I could just get my mother to acknowledge that I really turned out to be okay, then I wouldn't be depressed. So then I'm going to work on my mama. And I'm going to see if I can do everything I can to get my mama to say something to me. That's the person who's doing it the wrong-minded way. It isn't about anybody else changing outside of me. I don't want it to be about you. I don't want my happiness to be dependent on your opinion on me, how much you like me, whether you come to my class, whether you agree with me, or anything like that. Because I don't want to hold grievances, and I'm going to hold grievances if I have expectations of what I think you should be and how I think you should be. Amen. All right. So, yes.
Why do we always agree with our stupid thoughts?
Because we agree with our stupid thoughts.
Yeah.
Because they're stupid thoughts.
Yes, they're stupid thoughts. Yet they're very stupid thoughts. Not only just stupid thoughts, the course calls them shabby stupid thoughts. Yeah. What is a stupid thought? It's a thought that you make that's not, it's a false idea that you are believing in more than the truth. A stupid thought is you're on your own. A stupid thought is there's lack in your life. A stupid thought is I am lonely and I can never have a meaningful relationship. A stupid thought is I can never be successful unless the world acknowledges me. A stupid thought is my value is based on how much money I earn. A stupid thought is I can only be loved if I look a certain way. But all these are stupid thoughts. Okay? They're stupid thoughts. Why are they stupid thoughts? Because nothing about your happiness depends on any of those thoughts. The problem is you attract somebody else who believes exactly the same way, and then you reinforce each other's belief in this error. Because somebody who doesn't believe that their happiness comes from them, they're going to blame you for what they're going through. So every time they're unhappy, they're going to tell you, you need to be different. And you're going to do the same thing with them. And y'all do that dance with each other. So you get together in a relationship, and what you do is just try to change each other to be the way the other one wants the other one to be in order to be happy. And that's tiresome, and that's old.
Oh my God,
that is old. It's exhausting. It's exhausting, and it doesn't work. You will not stop doing something because you see it as good or bad. You will not stop doing something because it makes you feel guilty. You'll do it again if it makes you feel guilty. You'll stop doing something because it doesn't work. You'll only stop doing something when you get it won't get you what you want. You won't stop doing something because you feel bad about it. Your own experience has taught you that. You felt bad and felt guilty and still ate that apple pie again. Yeah. So you know that feeling bad and feeling guilty don't stop you from doing nothing. If anything, it allows you want it more because you felt guilty, so you're a good person. You felt bad about the pie, you felt guilty about it, so now you can go get another piece because you just punished yourself for the last one. So I'm going to go to the next paragraph. I want to try to finish this today, which would be a miracle. Hello, Lillian. Hello, Jacqueline. Lillian. All right. Okay. Lillian says, yes, I forgot that what I fear may come upon me. The truth is, the Course in Miracles says, one of my favorite lines in there is, it says, fear produces a state that doesn't exist. I said again, fear produces a state that doesn't exist. But, so you're afraid because you're telling yourself something that's not the truth. So your fear is coming from what you're telling yourself, not the reality. And the reality is, you are totally loved. The reality is you are spirit. The reality is you are not your physical bodies. You have a physical body. And you're not your ego. What is your ego? Your self-concept. You are not who you think you are. You are not who you think you are. You're not what you think you are. How do you know you're not what you think you are? Well, if what you think you are doesn't generate joy and love, your perception of what you are isn't true. That's as far as you need to go. So the minute you go, I'm not enough. Okay, I'm identified with a me that's not really me. That's not. If I knew who I was, I'd feel so good about it. I would feel so much love. I feel so much joy. It would be contagious to everybody around me. So whenever you're feeling bad about yourself or putting yourself down, that's not you that's got you upset. That's an image of yourself that you made up. And you're letting it determine how you feel, but you're making the image up. So if I wanted to change my mind about myself, I would read stuff constantly that reminded me I was something else. I would surround myself with people who reminded me that I deserved love. And I'd start offing people left and right if they were always reinforcing those old beliefs about myself. Get back with them later when I'm rooted in my new idea about myself and the way they are could not affect it. But while I'm trying to make a change, and from an old way of being to a new way of being, I am not going to stay around people who want to support the way I used to be. And that's not a put down of them. It's just that I no longer want to reinforce that about myself. And when I believe about myself, I can be around anybody. So it's stupid to say you're going to change and then you keep as intimate associates people who are constantly reinforcing what you're saying you want to let go of.
Yep.
That's the truth. You may not like it, but that's the truth.
Yep.
Okay, so the next paragraph says, healing will always stand aside, your happiness will always stand aside when it will be seen as a threat. So if you're afraid of love, it will stand aside when it's seen as a threat. If you're afraid It's not up to me to judge when you should use what I've given you.
Yeah.
It's not up to me to judge when you should use whatever I've given you. I don't give you a toaster when you get married, and when you wake up the next morning, I'm in the kitchen making sure you use it. So if I give you love and it looks like you didn't receive it, then if I give you love and it looks like you didn't receive it, it's not up to me to judge when you should receive it. I will be certain you will receive my love when you recognize my love as a blessing and not a curse. So I give you all love every week that you may or may not be aware of. It might not mean anything to you, and you just think, oh, that was a cool class, and I came to Earl's class, and I might come back again. I might not. I know I'm not special enough to be on your mind all through the day, because that's the way specialness work. We only think about the people who are special to us all the time, because we have to be good conscious torturers. For them every minute, every little thing we do for them, they must acknowledge it immediately, and they must act on whatever it is we give them immediately, or we get upset. Okay? So I say it again, it's not up to you to judge when your gift should be accepted. Just be certain that when I'll receive your love when I recognize it's not a curse. I'll receive your gift when I realize it benefits me. I may not realize how much it benefits me at first. Just like when I first read this book, I didn't realize how much it benefited me at first. And then later on, I realized it was a blessing instead of a curse. Because people who are still fear-based, when they hear about real love is inclusive and not exclusive, when they hear that real love is freedom, when they hear that they're not a victim, that they are the creators of their experience, that sounds like a curse to them, especially if they're used to blaming everybody else for what they're going through and also looking for somebody else to make them happy. The most common error people make is, I'm looking for that person that's going to make me happy. I'm looking for the person or the thing that's going to make me happy. So if you go to a class and they say, sorry, it doesn't work like that, you're the one that's got to change your mind and your consciousness, and then you create it, they don't want to hear that.
Nope.
So it sounds like a curse until they fail so many times that they eventually go, there must be a better way. Then they get, oh, what Purdy said a few years ago, that's making sense to me now. Okay? So it's not your function to evaluate the outcome of your gifts. It's not your function. It's not your function to judge how your gifts are being used. It's merely your function to give them. So when I give this class as a gift, it is not my function to evaluate what you're going to do with it. It's just my function to give it to you. When the postman or woman or the mail worker come and deliver a letter, their function is to give it to you, not stand there with you and open it and then judge about the mail that they just delivered. So I'm giving this to you, but I'm not, when I leave here, I'm trying not to be overly concerned about whether or not you use it. And sometimes I want people to use it so much that I make myself depressed. Because sometimes I don't feel like I'm reaching people the way I want to reach them. I know y'all know what I mean. Yeah, and so I feel like I'm giving you everything I got, and sometimes it seems like, okay, it looks like I'm giving you everything, and then some people go right on. So I stop teaching if I make my happiness about being a teacher based on whether you did what I said.
Right.
And you got to be the same way about whoever or whatever you give any gift to in your personal life. Then it goes on to say, no one, I love this line, he says, once you give the gift, you've also given the outcome, for that is the gift. So I give you a slice of cake. You may not want to eat it at first, but actually when I gave you the cake, I also gave you the outcome, which would be you eating the cake one day. So at the same time I gave you the cake, I gave you the outcome, but you may decide you don't eat the cake till 2 weeks later. You follow what I'm saying? I'm just using analogies to make this simpler. So what that means is, that once I give this truth to you all, when you come to the class, then I've also given the outcome, because if you ever use it, you'll see that it works. When someone tells me this doesn't work, I know they're not doing it. They think they're doing it, but they're not doing it. How can you tell when you put your car in drive and it's taking you down the street? You're down the street. Okay. So until you're down the street, you haven't put the car in drive. I don't care if I can sit in the car and say, you know what? I really have put this car in drive. And I do have my foot on the gas. But the truth is I don't, because if I did, I'd be down the street. So don't keep saying you're applying this and you're doing this and you're not getting the result. Because you can repeat something doesn't mean you're applying it. Because you can read something and say it back Doesn't mean you are applying it, even though the first stage is to repeat it and say it to yourself, even though you don't believe it. So that is a stage. So in the beginning, when you're trying to change your mind, you tell yourself the new thing that you want to believe, even if you don't believe it. And you keep saying it over and over and over and over and over again, and you'll start to believe it. You keep on saying it to yourself over and over and over again some more, you'll accept it some more. Keep saying it to yourself over and over and over again. One day you go, you know that's right, I am innocent. Bam! You see your life in a entirely different way. And your life is full of love. I was at the Cinco de Mayo yesterday, and I was walking around, and I had my hard glasses on, and I was standing up to a minute, this policeman went, wow, man, those are some awesome glasses. He was like, he was bubbling, and he was, you know, it's like I expected him to moonwalk, you know what I'm saying? He was like happy, you know what I'm saying? So now my programming would have been black man police, problem. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to try being black folk, right? Y'all don't understand what I'm talking about, right? I went to the body store, and I decided to show out. Y'all went to the white body store. Said, I'm going to have a little bit easier this time around. I went, oh, no, I'm going to show out. I'm going to be special. Give me a black body. Drop me in the South. Okay.
In the 60s.
In the 50s. I wanted to really go for it. Okay. It's really funny. I was with somebody the other day, and this young lady was trying to tell us, the guy what was going on in terms of from the perspective of a female and what she was experiencing, and he was constantly insisting to tell her what it was like. Yeah. That what she was saying was wrong about what she was saying about being a woman, right? And that's I love it when people of other races try to tell me what it's like to be black. That's the funniest thing to me. Or a woman trying to tell me what it's like to be a man, or a man trying to tell a woman what it's like to be a woman. So, ladies, when you want to really find out about men, go talk to a man. Don't go talk to another woman about a man. Y'all just reinforce each other's erroneous beliefs. So please, that just bugs me every time I see women doing that. Let's go talk about him. You don't know nothing about him, how his psychology works. Go talk to your brother. Talk to a man about how men think, quote unquote, and vice versa. I was blessed with 4 sisters who loved me. And that's why I really waited a long time to ever have a relationship. They were like, oh, okay. That's the way it works, huh? All righty. Okay. But the best woman in the world to be around is one who recognizes she's not a woman. And the best man to be around is a man that's recognizing he's more than a man. Because then they're not locked into their gender identity. So they can step back and objectively look at their femaleness or their maleness and control it instead of it controlling them. That's right. So nothing's scarier to me than a woman who thinks she's a woman and a man who thinks he's a man. Those are the scariest people in the world to me. Because they're trapped by cultural values and norms and what they've been programmed to believe and think. You know. So the fun beings are the ones who go, I got a black body. Oh, but I'm totally free. I'm more than it. I can decide how I want to see myself. I don't have to buy into what the world says I should do. So, here we go. Go a little bit deep. I might get through this. You know, because the doors are going to lock. You're not going to be able to get out until I get through. Y'all saw that movie Carrie, Don't Mess With Me. Y'all know my Carrie, you know what I'm saying? Okay, all right. Call me an ugly name, the doors are slammed. Bam! You know. I'll start twirling around the room. I tell you. The most fun I have is when I'm teaching. That's when I feel like I'm being most myself, I'm telling the truth, I'm being who I am. The rest of the time, I'm trying to do the same thing as you. Like, who the hell is that? How can I look at him differently? You follow me? Yeah.
And appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel appreciated too. Absolutely. It's funny, I feel I get more appreciation now that I'm appreciating myself.
Yep.
It's really weird. It's like the more I appreciate myself and make it okay for people not to try to fulfill my scripts and love them anyway, the more I attract people who want to do the things I was trying to make everybody else do. They show up saying, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it, let me do it, let me do it, I want to do it, I love to do it, let me do it, let me do it, let me do it. And I'm like going, wow, that's deep. I let go of projection and blame and trying to make them act out my script. And now, because my happiness is coming more from within, everybody that I wanted to ever meet started to show up, and they already that way, so I don't have to manipulate them in any kind of way, because let's just say I love dancing, and I was with somebody who hated dancing, and I was spending all this time trying to get them to dance and go to therapy to try to make them dance. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to let that go. I'm just going to go dancing, whether I go with them or not, and then I'm okay with that. Now all of a sudden, I'm meeting people who walk up, I be dancing whether I knew you or not, Rob. So you're not manipulating me at all. I'm just glad to join with you in the dance. And I started noticing that started happening in every area of my life. Yes. If I would let go of who I thought was supposed to give it to me, then Spirit would send the person who give it to me now, and I was choosing people that I had to try to hope I got it later. So now the things I like doesn't come later, it comes now. Because it's already there. Because they already like to dance. So you have to take them to the dance studio. So it's really awesome. So you might start to ask for what you want and let go of who you think should bring it to you. Because you sit in the room and go, oh, I think I like her, and I like her to really love on me. Well, she might not want to. Right? So, there's somebody that does. And if the Holy Spirit's in charge, it'll be somebody I'll be glad.
Yep.
So you don't get something through love that you don't want. You get something through love that you do want. I'm going to tell you, it's a much easier way to live. And I want to save you 35 years. Yeah, I want to save you 35 years. You can have what you want now if you listen to what I'm telling you. Okay? And I'm telling you what I was told. So it's not like I'm giving you earldom. You know what I'm saying? All right, no, like I said, it was too dumb Earl that I'm giving you earldom. Okay? Because I just didn't listen. So he says here, I love this. He says, no one can give if they're concerned with the result of giving. Being concerned with the result of giving, that is a limitation on the giving itself, which means neither the giver nor the receiver would benefit if you are concerned about the result of giving. The receiver now feels like he's imprisoned by your gift because you're insisting that they react to it and appreciate it and everything. You know, it's like somebody inviting you out to dinner, inviting you out to dinner, inviting you out to dinner. That was their idea. It wasn't your idea. They kept inviting you, and then one day they go, you don't never invite me out to dinner. I invite you out to dinner 3 times. Well, actually, then that wasn't a gift. Your taking me out to dinner was not a gift. It was a bargain. You know, just because you invited me doesn't mean I'm supposed to now invite you. That's not a gift. So then, as a receiver, I didn't receive the gift, and as a giver, you never gave me one. So then it goes on to say, oh God, I'll be glad when I do this. All of it. Don't you? I can be glad when we all do this. Yes. That's right. The difference is I don't beat myself up about where I am like I used to. Yes. That's the only difference. I got an ego just like you, but I know now the way to handle it is not putting myself down all the time. It's just go ahead, don't do that again, try to do it different this way. Don't do that again, do it this way, right? And then I try to go toward love instead of away from love. Like people who are loving and giving me love and appreciation, now I try to go toward them as opposed to away from them, because I used to not go toward them because I was afraid of joining and afraid of love. So if I went toward them, I'd have to receive the love. So I wouldn't go toward them, I'd go toward where it's being denied me. Because then I don't have to deal with my fear of intimacy and my fear of joining, while still being able to say, I wanted so bad for somebody to love me. Okay, that's right. So then he goes on and says, well, trust, guess what? He says, trust is an essential part of giving. In fact, trust is the part that makes sharing or giving possible. Trust is the part that guarantees the giver will not lose but only gain. Who gives a gift and then remains with it to be sure it's used as the giver deems appropriate? That's not giving, that's imprisoning. So the Course in Miracles says, you jokers don't give, y'all imprison. Because you're concerned with the result of giving your love, and then you try to imprison the person in your love to act the way you want them to act because of what you did for them. So you really should be going up to the person that you meet for the first time and saying, are you willing to be imprisoned? And you'd be surprised how many people say, oh yeah. Oh, you'd be surprised how willing I am to be imprisoned. Where's the collar? Now, know why. That's why I don't appear on some Course in Miracles. I wonder why I feel blackballed. No. I wasn't, I wasn't the black sheep in my family. I was the white sheep. Black people don't have black sheep. They have white sheep. Black sheep. I was just going to let y'all in on something. I'm the white sheep. All right. Now, last paragraph. It is the relinquishing of all concern about the gift that makes it truly given. I've really given the gift to you and I'm not concerned about it. I'm loving you, jokers, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
I'm seeing you as beautiful, whether you like it or not. I'm seeing you as deserving, whether you like it or not. I'm relinquishing all concern. And then it says, it's why? Because I trust in you. And I trust that you got the Holy Spirit, your higher self. I trust that if you continue to study and do your own work, you're going to come to the same conclusion of loving yourself the way that you should. That's what. I trust you would use this when you see it as a blessing and not a curse.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it says healing. What is healing? Healing is the change of mind. So healing is a change of mind. When you say you want to heal, you're saying, I want to change my mind about this. And what is this change of mind? He says it's a change of mind that the Holy Spirit in the person's mind is seeking for them. What does that mean? It means the higher self, the love in me, the truth in me, the real me in me is supporting me, changing my mind so that I can have the blessings that I deserve.
Yeah, awesome.
So we each have the part of God in us that's seeking to help us change our mind so that we can receive the blessings that have already been given us that we are not seeing because we're believing what we're telling ourselves.
Yep. The mind of Christ.
The mind, that's called the mind of Christ. The mind of love, the mind of the true self. And then it says, and it is the Holy Spirit in the mind of the giver who gives the gift to you. So, it's the love in me, it's the Holy Spirit in me, it's the higher self in me that's giving this to you. Yeah. And it's the higher self in you, the part that loves you, that's going to receive it. Your ego isn't. Your ego isn't interested in anybody telling you that you deserve love and you can have what you want. So your ego is the part that goes to sleep, goes unconscious, doesn't really do it, doesn't really hear it, and isn't really interested because it has one little goal for you. It's the part of you that just simply wants you to die. That's where death comes from. It comes from the part of your mind that wants to die and then gives you the illusion of death by taking your body out. So there's a part of you that wants to live and there's a part of you that wants to die. The part that wants to die doesn't want to hear life-giving thoughts. So it goes unconscious in the presence of love and has no interest in hearing it. In case you're wondering where that part of you comes from. It's the part of you that doesn't want you to be happy. It blocks out a person saying, you doggone beautiful, gorgeous, juicy, innocent, wonderful beings. You deserve to be happy. You have problems with insomnia, read the Course. You will be asleep in 10 minutes. You'll be out. You'll be passed out. Okay, I'm going to read the Course. Healing is... I think my neighbor's going out with another woman beside his wife. What? See? Totally awake about the meaningless stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if I was saying that, you know, let me tell you what I saw somebody doing in the restroom before the class. There'll be a person in the room sleep. What they do? And that was Earl. Oh, God. That's why I could never be famous. It just wouldn't work. Too much stuff come out. It just never worked. Never. Holy Spirit, I'm limiting you to 40 or 50 people. But they're going to be fun. They're going to be cool. You can believe that. Anybody that's attracted to you. They're fun people. You got to believe that. You get past their representative, you're going to have a good time. Because that's what y'all showing me now is your representative. Your public image, the way you act around people that you don't really know well. But I know me, so I know you. You need to study. You need to be praying. You better praying ain't no such thing as sin and guilt and hell. Okay? Which it isn't. That's the good news. It was made up. Yeah. The whole thing was made up to keep us under control through fear. Yeah. And those of us who didn't want to buy into it we were taught we were the heretics. You know, because we didn't want to buy into the belief of the original sin, and we just being messed up just by virtue of being born. You know, that's pretty hardcore. You know what I'm saying? You just got born. You a sinner! Hell, and you killed God's son. Yeah, I haven't even learned how to pee yet. In the toilet. So how did I do that to Jesus? And Jesus died 2,000 years ago. But I just was born. How did I do it? Don't you question me about it. Who knows what I'm saying? Raise your hand. Kind of got some of that stuff. And if you were Jewish, you just got a whole nother form of guilt. It's the same thing. It's just another way. You know, your mama got her head in the oven saying, go ahead, just somebody, don't worry about me. Just leave me here with my head in the oven and don't go out. So it's the Holy Spirit in the mind of the giver who gives the gift to you. How can it be lost? How can it be ineffectual if it's coming from God to God? How can it be wasted if it's coming from God to God? God's treasure house can never be empty. The treasure house of love can never be empty. The more love you accept, the more love there is for everybody else. The more of your happiness you accept, the more happiness there is for everybody else. The more of your abundance that you're willing to receive, do you know that that means there's going to be more abundance for everybody else? If one gift is missing, the storehouse wouldn't be full. And the fullness of the storehouse of your happiness and your peace and your love is guaranteed by the Creator. It's not guaranteed by you. It's guaranteed by God. Stop thinking that you have got to be the one that does it. You're the one that needs to learn how to get out of the way. Your job is to learn how to get out of the way, not to how you're going to make it happen. It's about you learning how to get out of the way of all the good that wants to get. It's a tidal wave. It's wave. It's like this big old barrier. And it's still there. You haven't lost any of your good. You haven't lost any of your good. It's just behind the barrier of your consciousness. And as soon as you change your mind, it'll be a flood of blessings. A flood of blessings. So you better get your butt ready to receive. You messing around with this stuff, you better be getting yourself ready to receive everything you've ever wanted in your heart. You know? And so he says, what concern then can a teacher of God have about what becomes of their gifts? The gifts are given by God, the God in you to the God in me, the love in you to the love in me. Who in this holy healing exchange can receive less than everything? You cannot receive less than everything. You are never going to be given less than everything. So if you think of what you want, you're not thinking big enough. You can never think big enough. You will always deserve more than you can ever imagine you do. Would you acknowledge you for hearing that? We got Okay, I'm going to do a quick recap at the end. And right now, let's do the financial expression of appreciation for those who like to make one. I'm a full-time teacher. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being willing to share with me. And I really do. You're awesome. You're awesome. You know. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Those online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. And I'm also available for one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions, where I work with you with the issues that you are ready to finally let go of. And I take all the years of working with people and bring it into our session. If you would do what I suggest based on what this is saying, you will get the result. If you don't, then you won't get the result. But it won't be because you didn't get the answer to what you were asking for. And I also use my knowledge of the language of astrology and numerology for those who are open to intuitive insight as well. And also I'm available for mentoring. If you want to save a lot of time with either Course in Miracles, the Way of Mastery, or the Course of Love, which are the three things that I teach, and you're interested in them, you could have one session with me with that specific purpose, and I could give you a ton of tips to make the whole thing easier. The purpose of a relationship is to save you time. Every relationship should be saving you time, and I can save you time. Spirit working through me can save you time. So those of you who want to save some time, take advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want to get my transmission fixed, it'll happen a whole lot faster if I let the transmission specialist work with me on it. than me having to go to transmission school. Okay, so take advantage of that. You're looking at a person that's devoted 35 years of their life to this material and been working with people. So I do know more about it than you do if you've never studied it. And that's not an insult. That's just a fact. I don't know how to fly a jet, but it doesn't make me less than equal with the pilot. He just knows more about that than I do, and I do know more about that than you do if you've never studied it. That's just a fact. So take advantage of that rather than letting your ego go, well, we equal. Of course we're equal, but you don't know as much about this as I do. Just like you got some things you do that I would know nothing about being able to do. You know. Okay. All right. So before I do the quick wrap up, those of you online, thank you so much. It feels so good to have you stuck in there, even though it paused for a little bit, but you stayed with there. Okay, who would like to give me at least one takeaway, something you heard today that you went, I'd love to remember that.
Well, I love that my healing will only come when I can receive it, not when I'm afraid of it.
That's right. That's right. And which is the same thing in a way. When I'm not afraid of it is when I'm able to receive it. Paris.
I really appreciate the prayer of I am afraid of this and I want another way to look at this and I want the conditions that I've created for the fear to grow to be removed.
That's right. That's awesome.
No one can give when he's concerned with the results.
You're not really giving to anybody if you're concerned with the result of it, you're imprisoning them. That's why you don't feel easy when a lot of times when people do stuff for you, right? Because you're like, you're doing all this for me, what do you want? Okay? Yes.
I don't have to wait for my happiness.
That's right. You don't have to. We can have it right now and ask to be able to recognize what you already have.
Yes.
And then that means you're asking for all the blocks to be removed to you having it. That's a real prayer.
Yes.
That's a real prayer.
I'm happy that healing is just waiting for my welcome.
Healing is waiting on your welcome, not on time. I love that.
Yep.
That's good. I love these takeaways. We got it online. Okay, I don't see anything right off the bat except tons of hearts.
Yes.
I'm just getting so much love. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I got a very big heart on right now.
You got a heart on. It's got his heart on.
Yeah, I got a heart on.
I like studying increases my capacity to receive peace.
Yes, my studying increases my capacity to receive because my biggest challenge is being able to receive it when it shows up.
I did not know before that in the black community.
You didn't know about the white sheep, huh? That's right. I'm a white sheep. I'm glad you know that. It's pretty good, isn't it? I know. Anybody else? Any takeaways? Miss Darlene.
My job is just to get out of the way.
My job is to get out of the way. I call it stop being the kink in the holes. You know what I'm saying? You know. That's right.
Innocent.
That's right. The court said you're all a bunch of hoes.
Kinky hose.
Kinky. Yeah, get rid of the kink in the hose. Get it? The kink. And once you get the kink out of the way, the water comes through on its own. So our lack of love for ourselves, our not recognizing the truth, thinking that we're guilty, thinking that we're separate, is the kink in the holes of our good. That's right. Okay.
There's a couple from online. Chris wants to acknowledge that fear produces a state that doesn't
That's
exist.
my favorite. That was to believe, if you were to believe that every time you were afraid, it produced a state that doesn't exist, then nothing that you fear would ever happen.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So think about that. Because fear is not, only love creates what's real.
And then Tricia said that she really resonates with healing waits for my protection.
Yeah, my happiness is waiting for my protection. What you're asking for has not shown up yet for your protection because you're not at a place in your consciousness where you could receive it without hurting yourself with it.
Yep.
Remember that.
That's brilliant.
You're not being denied. You're being protected. You're asking for something that you can't really handle yet, but you think you can. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. Okay. All right. Okay. Quit resisting. That was one. Okay. So that's 2 minutes, and then we'll be ready to go out there and make some more guilt.
Don't like that one.
I don't like that. We'll give something a little bit more.
Bigger.
I don't like that one yet. Have to be in the mood for that one. That's the one.
That's it.
Mighty companions, are you with me? Let me give you a few of the instructions. Healing is always certain. Healing is always certain. Healing is always certain. Healing is always certain. Do you know it's impossible to let your false ideas be brought to the truth and keep your false ideas? Do you know it's impossible to bring your fear to love and keep your fear when you brought it to love? You can't keep your fear when you brought it to love. So when you are in the presence of love, real love that you really live in, you will not feel afraid in the presence of love. You won't feel afraid if you let go of the blocks of the presence of love. You won't be afraid. But if it comes to you before you're ready for it, you've been ruining it in your perception and hurt yourself. So be glad if you've been asking for something and it hasn't happened yet. Is that right? Yeah. So don't think you're being denied. The instant it is welcome, it is there. The instant it is welcome, it is there. So let's say, I welcome my good. I welcome my good. I say, I welcome my good. I welcome my good. And tell somebody, you welcome your good. You welcome your good. You welcome your good. You welcome your good. You're so juicy and sweet.
You're so juicy and sweet.
Oh yeah, so don't be afraid of. Don't be afraid of. Don't feel disappointed if you think you've given a gift to someone, some help, some advice, and it doesn't look like it's been received. Tell yourself that it will be received by that person when they see it as a blessing and not a curse. When they see it as a blessing and not as a curse. I want you to see it as a blessing and not a curse. So, I'm going to give you some love right now. I want you to see it as a blessing and not a curse. See it as a blessing. See it as a blessing. Everything you receive today, see it as a blessing. I 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 see it as a blessing. Go. I am blessed as a child of God.
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 Oh, I say you are blessed as a child of God.
You are blessed as a child of God.
It's okay to be a black sheep. It's okay to be a white sheep. It's okay to be a black sheep. It's okay to be a white sheep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now, nobody can give if they are concerned with the result of giving. If you are concerned with the result of living and giving, it's a limitation on the giving. Trust is essential. It's an essential part of giving. I say trust is essential. It's an essential part of giving. I say trust is essential. 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 A part of giving. Trust is an essential part of giving. Trust is an essential part of giving. Trust is an essential part of giving. Now breathe. Do you know it is the relinquishing of all concern about the gift that makes it truly given. I say relinquishing all concern about the gift makes it truly given. So when you give, let go, let go. Don't imprison with your gifts. Don't imprison anybody with your gifts. Don't imprison anybody with your gifts. Just give your gifts and trust that they will receive it when they don't see it as a curse. Woo! 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 Is that right? Is that right? Let God give to God. 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 I let love give to love. Say what? I let love give to love. Y'all so much. Y'all so much. Y'all on fire. Thanks for coming. Tuesday night, Real Mastery, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. Thursday night, The Course of Love, which is a trip. That's 7 o'clock live stream. You all are just awesome blessings. I love hugs. Hugs are available. Thank you. Those of you watching online. And mighty companions, may the course be with you. Love you. Woo! Thank you, gods.
Oh! Would you hand me that, brother? At the bottom. Just grab it at the bottom. Thank you. Hey, baby.
Nice to see you.
Let me shut this off and give me a good hug from you.